Welcome to the 70th Annual Writers Guild Awards. She's a writer for Late Night with Seth Meyers and Comedy Central's Detroiters, and she's drunk for drunk history. Your host, Amber Ruffin.
To the WGA Awards. Woo! I'm your host, Diversity. Just kidding, I'm Amber Ruffin. Now, if you're wondering how they got me to host tonight's show, the answer is they asked and then I said yes. The WGA honors excellence in writing, or as actors would call it without us, good ability in writerhoodsmanship. Now, because there are two shows happening at the same time on both coasts, it's important that you not post anything on social media during the show. So if you think of something that you want to tweet, write it on a piece of paper and hold it up, and we'll all whisper, "We like that." Okay, you guys are here on a historic night. This is the first time a Black woman has hosted the WGA Awards. Yay! I mean, it's the first time, I assume. I never asked anyone. I'm just guessing that that is true. Wait, did you host this? Then it's the first time. Great. Okay, we're good. Now, if you thought that there has been too much focus on minorities and women these past few months, then you are about to have a bad time. Because all night long, I'm gonna be like, lady, 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 black, 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 lady, 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 black lady, black lady, black lady, everyone else, black, 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 black. You guys, this evening has already gotten off to a really good start. So far, only 2 old guys have tried to order a drink from me. I'll bring it to you if you tip me. Now, the WGA Awards is the only award show that is held on 2 different coasts at the same time. We are actually 2 minutes ahead. So for those of you who've never been a woman in a writer's room, what's happening right now is I tell jokes here, and you guys are like, oh, okay. And then Patton Oswalt repeats those same exact jokes to thunderous applause. Just kidding. You guys, just kidding. They're at the same time. Well, actually, they're not actually at the same time. They're, in reality, 3 hours in the past, which is why they have a white host and why you get a Black woman. Welcome to the future! Blah, 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 blah. You guys, the Writers Guild of America East was founded in 1954, and if you work that year, they should just be about done processing your residuals. That's right, the WGA East was founded in 1954. It was the first known instance of writers making eye contact. You guys, this year has been a confusing year to work in entertainment. Men have had to adjust to a world where sexual harassment is no longer tolerated, and women have had to adjust to a world where people believe us. Oh, we believe you, no matter what. You guys, we have had some tough conversations in the entertainment world this year, but we also did some great work, and that's what we're here to recognize. Okay, yay! Yes, you all did a good job. General Hospital is nominated tonight for Best Daytime Drama. And this is crazy, so is its evil twin. Sesame Street has 2 nominations. Yay! Oh, hi! They just finished finished taping season 49, and it's more relevant now than ever, as it prepares today's kids for a future of living in garbage cans. Big Little Lies is nominated for long-form adapted program. Big Little Lies, of course, is the amazing story of 4 white women who somehow become friends with Zoe Kravitz. The Shape of Water is nominated tonight for Best Original Screenplay. It is the story of a black woman who has to clean up the mess made by her crazy white friend. It's the story of all of us. Now, according to a recent article, only 5% of speaking roles in Hollywood are played by Asian actors, but that number jumps to 10% if you include Emma Stone. So, you're doing all right. Now, across all media platforms, only 19% of female speaking roles are black characters. And a special treat tonight, I have memorized all their lines. Okay. Girl. And
you think you're better than me? Just because you're fancy clothes and piles of money? Well, I have something you'll never have, Mr. Beaumont. I have heart.
Those are real lines from real shows. Hey, y'all, it's Black History Month. So here's a fun Black History fact. I'm the first black woman to write on a network late night talk show. Is that fact? Yippee! Fact. So that makes Seth Meyers the first woke late night host. Extra fact, Robin Thede is the most woke late night host. Robin, take a body roll. That's right. Do it. You too, Seth. Yes, get it. Yes, do it. Jordan, you take a body roll. Oh, yes, get it, Kleppy. John Oliver, take a body roll. And Bill Maher, go fuck yourself. Okay. You guys, we did it. That's it. That's the end of the monologue, and we did it all the way. Yay! All right, now that was a nice monologue, hey? I stayed away from anything too risque because I don't want to offend people by saying jokes like, missing among tonight's nominees is the ABC hit sitcom Blackish. Blackish, of course, is a show about what the water is still like in Flint, Michigan. Joke I shouldn't tell, I oughta keep it inside. It's the joke I shouldn't tell, but what the hell, I'll be forgiven. Cause I'm a black lady and you feel pressure to laugh at my jokes. The movie Dunkirk has come under fire this year for having too many white men. Too many white men, or as it's more commonly known, a writer's room. It's the joke I shouldn't tell, I know darn well to keep it hidden. It's the joke I shouldn't tell, it makes you laugh and feel bad. It's the joke I shouldn't tell, but what the hell, I'll be forgiven. But if it came from some white guy, we'd both be a little mad. People are shocked that there was no nomination for the movie Girls Trip. Next year's sequel is sure to win. Girls Trip 2, we're slaves this time! It's the joke I shouldn't tell, but someone's got to tell it. It's the joke I shouldn't tell, it makes white people blush. It's the joke I shouldn't tell, but only I can sell it. Cause either you laugh or you're too uncomfortable and no one wants to be the guy that the black lady makes uncomfortable. So pretend to get my references or suffer the consequences, cause I'm a black lady and this is pretty much all
all I get, all I get. Social relevance is all I get, baby. 'Cause I'm a black lady, and this is pretty much all I get. Hey, you guys, we've got a great show tonight. Enjoy yourself. Let this party get started.
Many of you probably started your day today with our first presenter. Please welcome the host of CBS Sunday Morning and my colleague, Jane Pauley.
Hi. Thank you, Nancy, wherever you are. The nominees for news script, analysis feature, or commentary reported on diverse topics: the famine crisis in South Sudan, and the Turkish immigrant to the U.S. who built the Chobani Empire. All of the nominees just happen to be colleagues of mine at CBS. I'd like to assure you there's been no vote tampering and no collusion. No collusion. The nominees are Chief of Chobani, 60 Minutes, written by Steve Kroft, Oriana Zil de Granados, CBS News. And Fighting Famine, 60 Minutes, Scott Pelley, Nicole Young, CBS News. And the award goes to Oriana Zil de Granados and Steve Kroft for Chief of Chobani, 60 Minutes.
Thank you so much. Thanks to the Writers Guild for this honor and to all the writers in the room. Equal pay for women. I think we're very lucky at 60 Minutes that we do actually have a lot of support. And I want to thank Steve Kroft and particularly Michael Ray, my co-producer, and Bill and Jeff Fager, Bill Owens and Jeff Fager, our senior producer and executive producer, for the opportunity to do the kind of stories that I usually do, which are investigative. In this case, with the attack on immigrants across the United States, we felt it was particularly important to do a business story about someone who's not only an immigrant and a refugee himself, but who hires regularly other immigrants and refugees all across the United States, making yogurt for us. Thank you to the Guild. I appreciate this.
We leave you this Sunday evening, or rather I do, with the nominees for news script, regularly scheduled bulletin, or breaking news. Their stories provide a snapshot of our world in 2017. Allegations against a former president, the only hope for Syrian civilians under siege, and a day when the humanitarian crisis in Puerto Rico and the national anthem controversy shared the headlines. The nominees are Obama wiretap allegations, World News Tonight with David Muir, written by Mark Berman, Barbara Rick, and Tom Lamas, ABC News. And September 29, 2017, World News Now, written by Matt Nelko, Jack Sheehan, Debbie Humes, Carla Britton, Constance Johnson, Lloyd DeVries, and Greg Moranci, ABC News. And finally, White Helmets, 60 Minutes, written by Scott Pelley, Nicole Young, Katie Kurbstadt, 60 Minutes, CBS News. And the award goes to Katie Kurbstadt, Nicole Young, Scott Pelley for White Helmets, 60 Minutes.
Mother, mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah. Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Oh, picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see. Oh, what's going on? What's going on?
So sorry that took so long. We were all the way up there, and the pregnant lady had to walk all the way around. We are so honored to be here tonight and to accept this award. Thank you very much, Writers Guild. This story for us was a real passion of love and hardship. Katie and I have been covering the Syrian conflict for about 6 years now, and I don't think there's any story that we've actually worked on that has been as compelling and as touching as seeing the heroes of the White Helmets. So it's really easy to write about heroism when you see it on this level and on this scale. And I think that it's a real honor for us to be able to shine a light on a corner of the world that has these sorts of atrocities going on. The unfortunate thing is that the White Helmets' work doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. It seems like they're busier than ever, and it seems like we're gonna have a hell of a lot more stories to tell. And as long as Jeff Fager, our executive producer, Bill Owens, our executive editor, and everybody at 60 Minutes allows 2 women like us to go into war zones, we're gonna keep doing it because it's important and girls rock. Our editor who didn't come down, Patrick Lee, he spent thousands and went through thousands of hours of footage to help make this piece what it was. So even though he wasn't a writer, he wrote with his editing. Scott Pelley wrote with his words as well. And everybody have a good night. Thanks.
She was killed off for knowing too much in House of Cards, and she kills as a stand-up comic in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, a Golden Globe-winning performance. Joining us is Rachel Brosnahan.
When I have a brand new hairdo with my eyelashes on.
Hello. Hi, guys. How drunk are we? Too early? All right, a little. Okay. So with all the exemplary work being done in episodic television these days, to break through and to be recognized by your peers, you need the smooth pitch of a con artist, the devotion of a cultist, the resiliency of a small-time attorney, the nuance of a double agent, and the far-sightedness of the OA. Oh shit, what a break. They're all here, you guys. Okay, so the nominees for episodic drama are The Book of Nora from The Leftovers, the teleplay by Tom Perrotta and Damien Lindelof, story by Tom Speziale and Damien Lindelof, Just a quick disclaimer, as somebody whose name is always fucked up, I'm gonna try not to fuck up as many of your names as possible. Okay. Chicanery from Better Call Saul, written by Gordon Smith. The Heart Attack is the Best Way, Good Behavior, written by Chad Hodge. Homecoming, The OA, written by Britt Marling and Zal Botmanglij. Slip, Better Call Saul, written by Heather Marion. The Soviet Division, The Americans, written by Joe Weisberg and Joel Fields. And the award goes to, oh shit, hold on. Wrong one. Gordon Smith, Chicanery, Better Call Saul. And he couldn't be here with us tonight, so I'm happy to accept this on his behalf. So there are only 2 nominees for daytime drama tonight, which has always been such a vital, valuable, and nurturing place for writers and actors. We honor these writers because though the field shrinks, their legacy continues to grow. And the nominees for daytime drama are General Hospital, head writers Shelley Altman, Jean Passanante, with writers Anna Teresa Cassio, Suzanne Flynn, Charlotte Gibson, Lucky Gold, Kate Hall, Elizabeth Corti, Daniel James O'Connor, David Rupel, Catherine Schock, Scott Sickles, Christopher Von Etten, Christopher Whitesell, and Days of Our Lives with writers Ron Carlivati, Sherry Anderson, Lorraine Broderick, David Cherrill, Lisa Connor, Carolyn Culleton, Richard Culleton, Rick Drawn, Sidney Kelly, David Kreisman, David A. Levinson, Rebecca McCarty, Ryan Kwan, Dave Ryan, Elizabeth Snyder, and Tyler Toppitz. And the award goes to the writers of General Hospital.
Very much for this acknowledgement of our work over the past year, and we are very proud that during that year we have honored the soap opera tradition of featuring strong women who are the heroes of their own stories, and also for providing escapism when perhaps we've needed it most. Thank you.
He's the playwright behind The Parisian Woman, currently on Broadway, and the creator of the corrupt political world of House of Cards on Netflix. In his spare time, he's an activist and the new president of the Writers Guild East. Your Commander-in-Chief, Beau Willimon.
Union songs, union battles,
Good evening. Congratulations to all of the nominees. Thank you to Amber Ruffin for hosting, to all of the presenters, to those that are receiving special awards tonight, and a big thanks to our awards committee and all of the staff who made this evening possible. This would be the appropriate time in my speech to attempt to make a joke, to break the ice a little bit, and after many failed attempts, all of which I ran past my partner, Michelle, she finally turned to me and said, "Sweetie, there's a reason you don't write comedy." And this paltry response to that attempt at a joke is proof of that. She eventually buried her face in her hands as I continued to attempt crafting jokes and said, please don't embarrass yourself in front of all those people. And this is what that embarrassment feels like. So let's get to the serious part of my speech. Tonight, we celebrate writers and the impact of their writing. But tonight, we also celebrate our solidarity and the impact we make as a union to protect, advance, empower, and unite writers, to improve our industry, and to contribute to the struggle of organized labor as a whole. The past year, these do better than my jokes. The past year has been an eventful one. The Guilds East and West negotiated a new 3-year agreement with the AMPTP, which protected the future of our health and pension funds, addressed the trend of shorter TV seasons, and improved writer compensation on all levels. Yeah, that's a good one to laugh. That's a good one to clap at. Our organizing team continued to grow our union, expanding collective bargaining and digital news, and winning recognition for over 500 writers. To improve diversity in our industry, we continue to work with the DGA to pass landmark legislation in New York, incentivizing the hiring of women and people of color to write and direct television. We also inaugurated the Made in New York Writers' Room, a partnership with the City of New York to provide professional feedback to a diverse applicant pool of 500 aspiring writers, 13 of whom were chosen to receive one-on-one mentorship with established television showrunners. Over the past several months, there has been a wave of stories regarding the pervasive sexual harassment and assault in our industry. Our union is taking action. We have ensured that WGAE staffers have been trained to know the law and to listen to members' concerns. We have made resources available to members online, legal information, employer responsibilities, counseling, and other support. We have surveyed our members to learn their views and experiences and to ask members to be involved in the union's broader efforts to address the imbalance of power in our industry. We will continue and expand these efforts in the months and years to come. As a union of writers, we have a unique role in the organized labor movement. With our words, we hold a mirror to society and thereby have the ability to transform it. We tell stories that speak truth to power. And during the past year, the truth has been under attack, and along with it, the truth tellers who are fighting to keep the truth alive. Journalists are under assault by the government. Large-scale corporate mergers threaten to monopolize the distribution of film and television. A president whose regime embraces bigotry and greed has abandoned all respect for freedom of speech and the freedom of the press. For millennia, writers have had to contend with authoritarian regimes that have threatened their livelihoods and often their lives. Here in the United States, we have enjoyed more liberty and safety than many places where writing remains a life and death proposition. But the threats we are currently facing are dire and will worsen if left unchallenged. Our role as a union of writers is to challenge with the truth, to challenge with every word we write. We will not be intimidated. We will not be deterred. We will continue to speak truth to power. We will continue to support each other. We will continue to do so united in solidarity. Tonight, we raise our glasses to the nominees, but let's also raise our fists as proud members of the labor community. United, we are strong. With strength, we have power. With power, we achieve progress. Please stand and raise your fists and say it together with me. Please stand. Raise your fists in the air. In solidarity. 1, 2, 3. In solidarity. In solidarity. In solidarity. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.
She plays Amy Bruckheimer, the hilariously tightly wound and oddly endearing political operative on Veep. And she's currently starring in the off-Broadway production of The Cardinal at Second Stage Theater. Please welcome Anna Chlumsky.
Say
outstanding scripts in this next category had previous lives as a novel, a film, 2 books, and a TV series. The stories evolved into very different but still totally compelling works. We still get to have evolution, right? That hasn't been banned yet. For nominees for long-form adapted are Big Little Lies, teleplay by David E. Kelley, based on the novel by Leon Moriarty. Fargo, written by Monica Beletsky, Bob De Laurentiis, Noah Hawley, Ben Nadivi, Matt Wolpert, based on the film Fargo. The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, teleplay by Peter Landesman and Alexander Wu and George C. Wolfe, based on the book written by Rebecca Skloot. The Wizard of Lies, teleplay by Sam Levinson and John Burnham Schwartz and Samuel Baum, based on the book written by Diana B. Enriquez and Truth and Consequences by Laurie Sandel. And the award goes to David E. Kelley, Big Little Lies. Congratulations to David E. Kelley, accepting in Los Angeles. Now, if there's one thing we didn't have enough of this past year, it was drama. The real world was so bland, so boring, so predictable. Well, lucky for us, this next group of writers created plenty of drama for us on screen. The nominees for drama series are The Americans, written by Peter Ackerman, Hilary Bettis, Joshua Brand, Joel Fields, Stephen Schiff, Joe Weisberg, Tracy Scott Wilson. Better Call Saul, written by Ann Cherkis, Vince Gilligan, Jonathan Glaitzer, Peter Gould, Jennifer Hutchinson, Heather Marion, Thomas Schnauz, and Gordon Smith. Game of Thrones, written by David Benioff, Brian Cogman, Dave Hill, and D.B. Weiss. The Handmaid's Tale, written by Eileen Chaikin, Nina Fiore, Dorothy Fortenberry, Lila Gerstein, John Herrera, Lynn Renee Maxey, Bruce Miller, Kira Snyder, Wendy Straker-Hauser, Eric Tuckman. Stranger Things, written by Paul Dichter, Justin Doble, the Duffer Brothers, Jesse Nixon Lopez, Kate Treefree. And the award goes to, oh, come on, the writers of The Handmaid's Tale. Accepting for the writers is Aunt Lydia Ann Dowd. Yay! Here you are.
Well, I am certainly honored to accept this on behalf of Bruce Miller and our wonderful writers. Writers, the great seers and the great sufferers. Without you, there is no us. So, on behalf of The Handmaid's Tale, I thank you. There are times when I read the script, honestly, and I sit down and I catch my breath and I write to Bruce Miller and I say, how in the world did you do this? Thank you very, very much. It's a great honor.
For more than 30 years, he's been making films that challenge what we think we know about American culture and history. His documentaries about wars, politics, music, and sports have been both hugely popular and critically acclaimed. Here's Ken Burns.
The act, the art of writing, is by its very nature singular, almost sacred endeavor. The writer is alone in his or her thoughts, books, tentative outlines, and scribbled notes at the ready for possible inclusion, all grist for a mill that grinds on, often unobserved by any other. The conversations are entirely interior, sometimes taking place with unseen ghosts and untraceable echoes from across vast canyons and eons, but mostly, of course, with the voices battling from within that one person trying to get out. Collaboration, what takes place in filmmaking, seems like the opposite of all that. Busy, loud, dramatic, the corruption of the singular vision, a dilution of the focus a writer must possess. Filmmaking takes sometimes a perverse pleasure in deconstructing all that has been patiently assembled by the pitiful scribe, unlucky enough to submit to the indignities of the sausage making I happen to do for a living. Which is why I am so lucky tonight to be able to celebrate in front of you all the nearly 4 decades of work, sublime writing, our honoree Jeffrey C. Ward has created, mostly, I'm happy to say, for me and with me, why he represents the most important and satisfying collaboration of my professional life. The fact that he has been submitting willingly and mostly cheerfully to a process that might drive other writers batty is an astonishing thing to me, made all the more so by the process we have together evolved with our comrades to make our films, historical documentaries focused exclusively on the remarkable and sometimes also dysfunctional republic we call the United States of America. Rather than limit our research and writing to a finite and relatively short period at the beginning of each project, we never stop researching and we never stop writing until the very last moments when the exigencies of broadcast deadlines demand that we abandon our creations. This means that Jeff's superlative prose goes through any number of, sometimes 20 or 25 wholesale revisions. This means that nothing, no matter how well written, is ever written in stone. That no scene, no paragraph, no sentence, sometimes no word is safe from the vagaries and insults of this process. But somehow, his voice is never diminished. His art never obscured by all the fussing we do with and around those words of his. They endure, and they are indelible. And it's hard to put it any other way, they wake me up. They have taught me so many things over the years. I have learned with Jeff to tolerate contradiction and undertow, to see in every so-called hero deep wounds and flaws, to find in the most venal of characters something that is redeeming, to live and breathe in every day of our collaboration the truth that there is most often more than one truth to every event we try to investigate, to every historical figure we try to wake from the dead. It's complicated, Jeff once said early on in our work together, a film about the turbulent Southern demagogue Huey Long. It's complicated. Indeed, it is. He has taught me and taught us all to welcome seemingly irreconcilable moments, to avoid the neatly wrapped packages we wish every scene could be. If film is of nature reductive compared with literature, Jeff has weaned us of that unacceptably narrow ambition. If film is essentially at times intellectually superficial, Jeff has shown us layers of meaning and then showed us how to express them. If film naturally tends to nostalgia and sentimentality and treacle, Jeff has shown us how to migrate those baser, cheap emotions into places of deep richness and texture, higher emotions that evoke some of the most powerful things I've ever felt. And he has done it all without artifice, without the bells and whistles, the tricks of the trade that are the stock in trade of many, eschewing the fancy for, well, the complicated. Some of the best sentences I have ever read have come from my friend Jeff Ward. They are spare and they are compound, suspicious, mostly of adjectives and adverbs, almost as interested in the intervals between the words, like musical notations, as in the words themselves. And because of that and so much more, we've been able to make a kind of music together. we have made over the last nearly 40 years. And it's made Jeff, who will protest now and insist he's just the writer, a great filmmaker too. With, I might add, a great sense of humor. Oh, and we have never yelled at each other, not once in 36 years. Often when we've spent an exhausting day trying to make a film better, or when, after a decade, we've locked a particularly challenging project, Jeff will look at me and say the best thing anyone has ever said to me at work: glad to know you. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend and colleague receiving tonight this year's Ian McClellan Hunter Award for Career Achievement in Writing, Jeffrey C. Ward. Glad to know you.
Give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby just wrote me a letter. I don't care how much money I gotta spend. Got to get back to my baby. Lonely days are gone, I'm a-going home.
Thank you very much. This is a very great honor, and I am, if I start naming people and looking at them, I will disgrace myself, so I'm not going to do that. But I am very grateful to Ken. I am very grateful to Lynn Novick, who's here. I'm very grateful to my wife, to my wonderful sons who got me up here, and I hope will get me off. In any case, I think I must be the luckiest history lover in the country. For some 35 years now, at least 35, Ken Burns and the public broadcasting system have permitted me to speak directly to millions of Americans about the past we all share, to offer a version of that history that is as complex and nuanced as we can make it, peopled by actual human beings who are neither uniformly virtuous nor uniformly villainous. Ian McClellan Hunter, for whom this wonderful award is named, was a victim of the McCarthy era, one of the darkest chapters in our history. I can't imagine that there are many people in this room tonight who would deny that we are now in the midst of a chapter that may turn out to be still darker. I'm 77 now, and reading the New York Times and Washington Post every morning, it seems sometimes that every progressive achievement made during my lifetime, from colorblind immigration to voting rights to preserving the environment, is under serious assault. Sadly, the lessons history is supposed to teach us provide no immediate comfort. Much of what is happening today is without precedent. History never repeats itself exactly in any case, though, as Mark Twain liked to say, and Ken Burns liked to repeat, it does rhyme. Still, I remain convinced that what we do is important, worthwhile. It's been my privilege to try to convey to the widest possible audience both the heroism and the humanity of a host of extraordinary men and women from our past: Thomas Jefferson and Mark Twain and Louis Armstrong. And no party, by the way, is complete without a little Louis Armstrong. Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Jack Johnson and Jackie Robinson, and the three great Roosevelts, Theodore, Franklin, and Eleanor. They were all remarkable and also remarkably human, riddled with flaws familiar to all of us. Understanding their failings should make us admire their achievements all the more. Seeing our forebears whole, as both bold and devious, brave and fearful, enlightened and ignorant, defeated and victorious, should reassure, not frighten us. After all, to know them and what they did when times were hard is to begin to know ourselves and see what we might do. Thank you very much.
welcome back to the stage the pride of Omaha, Nebraska, Amber Ruffin.
I just realized that I may never be in front of this many creators again, and I'm the host, so I can do whatever I want, okay? So I've watched a lot of TV and film, and I have some notes, okay? Your work is good, but it could be better. So let's open our minds and receive the following notes, okay? First up, Late Night with Seth Meyers. More me. You get it. Here's some more. The Americans. Now, your final season is coming up, and I'm not telling you how to write your show, but if this last season does not reveal itself to be the prequel to Felicity, I will be pissed. Lady Bird. Lady Bird. Keep the promise of the title. The lady that the movie is about should be half lady, half bird, Lady Bird. Big Little Lies. Can we have less murder? Also, make the lies more fun. Like, someone is lying about lying and they're actually telling the truth. Or Nicole Kidman is a ghost. And that's why she looks like that. General Hospital. Okay, General Hospital. Why not make it more of a specific hospital? Details are fun. Call Me By Your Name. I loved it. But I was expecting that everyone in the movie would be called by my name. Amber. They should have called it Call Me By My Amber. Everyone in the movie is called Amber. That's a movie. American Horror Story Cult. Too scary. I mean, it has horror right in the title. First, get that out. Swap in something nicer, like American Happy Story, Foot Rubs, or American Hungry Story, Cookies. The Wizard of Lies. Turn the L into a P, you got a hit. And lastly, The Shape of Water. Now, your movie was really cute, but what about this? It would be more true to the title if your film was about a young woman named Water dealing with her changing body as she's going through puberty. She struggles with accepting herself the way she is through her 20s and 30s, but then when she's 40, she finally looks at her naked body in the mirror and says, I'm in love with the shape of water. All right, them's my notes. Okay, now, on that note, let's keep this party going. Little housekeeping. But, okay, let's keep this party rolling, y'all. It's time for more awards.
He's an Oscar nominee and SAG Award winner, and he makes WGA member Peter Hedges kvel. Please welcome the star of Lady Bird and Manchester by the Sea, Lucas Hedges.
Hi. Exposing nutritional pyramid schemes, challenging masculine ideologies to revolutionize the scientific world, opening a cold case in Northern Ireland, investigating the tragic run-ins that led to one of America's deadliest acts of domestic terrorism, the nominated writers of these wildly different, outstanding documentaries have one thing in common: their drive to expose the truth in a world that needs so much more of it. The nominees for documentary screenplay are Betting on Zero, written by Theodore Braun, Gunpowder and Sky; Jane, written by Brett Morgan, National Geographic; No Stone Unturned, written by Alex Gibney, Abram Arama; Oklahoma City, written by Barack Goodman, American Experience Films, and the award goes to Brett Morgan Jane, and I am happy to accept on his behalf. So I guess he's in LA. Discovering your sexuality in Italy, surviving racism in rural Mississippi, rekindling friendship through disastrous filmmaking, having one last hurrah with Professor X, running a millionaire poker club that gets fuddled by the Russians. Gets fiddled by the Russians. I don't know what that means, but these stories were brought to visual life by screenwriters with a passion for adapting the printed medium to the big screen. And the nominees are Call Me By Your Name, screenplay by James Ivory, based on the novel by Andre Aciman, who is sitting at my table. The Disaster Artist, screenplay by Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber, based on the book by The Disaster Artist, My Life Inside the Room, the Greatest Bad Movie Ever Made, by Greg Sestero and Tom Bissell. Logan, screenplay by Scott Frank and James Mangold, and Michael Green, story by James Mangold, based on characters from the X-Men comic books and theatrical motion pictures. Molly's Game, screenplay by Aaron Sorkin, based on the book by Molly Bloom. Mudbound, screenplay by Virgil Williams and Dee Reese, based on the novel by Hilary Jordan. And the award goes to James Ivory, Call Me By Your Name. And accepting is Andre Aciman.
I'm here on behalf of James Ivory, but I wanted to say a few words about this wonderful experience that was this movie. It started about 10 years ago on West 109th Street on a hot summer when I couldn't go to Italy and I was dying to be in Italy. And so I just went to my computer and started writing. And lo and behold, many years later, suddenly there was a film script by James Ivory, there was a movie by Luca Guadagnino, the actors were fantastic, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. I am at the source of all this, no way. And so tonight it's really my pleasure to read this, which are the words of James Ivory in California right now, probably saying exactly the same thing. I very much want to thank my fellow writers at the Writers Guild East and West for this honor. I'm so touched that you've given it to me. I'm not exactly a mere novice, but I've never undertaken a complete screenplay on my own in all the years that I was directing films, so I'm really moved by your enthusiasm. I also want to thank Michael Barker and his team at Sony Classics for all their work supporting Call Me By Your Name, and my neighbors in upstate New York, Peter Spears and his partner, Brian Swartstrom, who brought me into this project along with Luca Guadagnino. But most of all, I want to thank our actors. Sometimes one's actors tend to get overlooked in these kinds of speeches by directors and writers, almost taken for granted. But how very, very lucky we were. How lucky Luca, Andre, me, and I, James. All were because of the wonderful work of Timothée Chalamet, Armie Hammer, Michael Stolberg, Amira Kazar, and Esther Garel. Thank you all, James Ivory.
You know them best for their groundbreaking work on projects including Oz and Rounding Third, but they also use their writing to help others. Here from the Writers Guild Initiative are former President Tom Fontana and Vice President Richard Dresser.
Hi, everybody. We're not going to take much of your time. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Writers Guild Initiative, which is your charitable foundation. We've been pretty active lately, and this year alone we have done writers' workshops with veterans, their caregivers, dreamers, Muslim writers, and exonerated prisoners. We also have the Nora Ephron Book Club and the Penn Friends, which works with fifth grade kids. We would love you to be involved in any way you want, and we'd ask you to just think of us fondly. One of the things we do is we give out a scholarship. This is the 10th year of the Collier Scholarship. Rick, take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, every year the Writers Guild Initiative, in partnership with the Charles and Lucille King Family Foundation, presents the Michael Collier Memorial Fellowship in Screenwriting. And we honor a talented, enterprising, committed college senior who wants to be a professional screenwriter. And since we work with the Blacklist in Hollywood, we get many submissions from many places. The competition is ruthless. The odds of success, minuscule. The heartbreak, unavoidable. In short, it's a wonderful preparation for the career that lies ahead. The winner receives a stipend of $10,000 to write a screenplay under the mentorship of a prominent, unemployed screenwriter. Now, this is a singular honor and a remarkable opportunity. This year's winner, like many of you here tonight, was born in Tajikistan. And she left with her family when she was 2 years old to escape the Civil War. The family went to Warsaw, Poland. They were there for 6 months, then they moved on to Stockholm, Sweden as refugees. Several years later, they moved to Cambridge, England. She did not know a single word of English. She taught herself English by reading comic books and watching one movie after another. At age 14, she had to drop out of school to do odd jobs to support the family. One day, after her 18th birthday, she moved to London on her own, and she ended up in sort of an unfathomable development, graduating with first honors with distinction from Birkbeck College at the University of London. The journey she has taken from the Civil War in Tajikistan to the Edison Ballroom is extraordinary. She's a unique talent. She's fiercely committed to her writing, and the work she submitted to us is dazzling. And you get to meet her at the beginning of what will be a brilliant career. So I am truly honored to present the 2018 winner of the Michael Collier Memorial Fellowship in Screenwriting to Nicole Landau.
So, anybody here from out of town? There she goes.
Thank you. You know, I was umming and ahhing about whether or not I should make a joke, and my husband said, you know what, go ahead. It's not like you're speaking to a room full of award-winning writers or anything. And but I'm sure everybody here knows how daunting and scary it is to be at the very bottom of a new career ladder, and which is why I just want to thank the Writers Guild of America, the King Family Foundation, and the Collier family for their incredible generosity in setting up this program. I want to thank Dara Carville and Birkbeck College for all the knowledge and support that they've imparted. I want to thank my husband and indentured proofreader, Matt. I want to thank my family and my friends for putting up with me. And most of all, I want to thank myself for not falling on the way up here. So thank you.
She's a screenwriter, actress, podcaster, and author who made us want to spend time hanging out with difficult people. It's Julie Klausner.
It's become a tradition at the Writers Guild Award in New York to have children's television awards presented by someone wildly inappropriate. Yesterday on Twitter, somebody angry that I blocked his friend called me butthurt. I wrote back, of course I'm butthurt. I was up all night doing anal with your dad. The nominees for Outstanding Children's Episodic and Specials are American Girl Summer Camp, Friends for Life, American Girl teleplay by Allison McDonald, story by Allison McDonald and Karen Champion. An American Girl story, Ivy and Julie, 1976, A Happy Balance, American Girl, written by May Chan. Just Add 1965, Just Add Magic, written by Lauren Thompson. Meet Julia, Sesame Street, written by Christine Ferraro. The Magical Wand Chase, a Sesame Street special, written by Ray Lankford, Jessica Carlton, Ken Scarborough. And the award goes to May Chan, An American Girl Story, Ivy and Julie. Congratulations to May, who is not able to attend. And now, the Outstanding Writing in a Comedy Variety Sketch Series category, or as I know it, a long list of people I took classes with at UCB who sometimes return my emails. And the nominees are Nathan For You, Leo Allen, Nathan Fielder, Carrie Kemper, Michael Coman, Adam Locke Norton, Eric Notarnicola. They phonetically spell these, and somehow it makes it harder for me. Portlandia, writers, Fred Armisen, Carrie Brownstein, Karen Kilgariff, Jonathan Kreisel, Graham Wagner. Saturday Night Live, head writers, Chris Kelly, Sarah Schneider, Brian Tucker. Writers, James Anderson, Kristen Bartlett, Jeremy Byler, Neil Brennan, Zach Borstein, Joanna Bradley, Megan Callahan, Michael Che, Anna Dresden, Fran Gillespie, Sudie Green, Steve Higgins, Colin Jost, Eric Kenward, Rob Klein, Nick Kocher, Michael Coman again, David McCary, Brian McElhaney, Dennis McNichols, Drew Michael, Lauren Michaels, Josh Patton, Katie Rich, Pete Schultz, Streeter Seidel, Will Steven, Kent Sublett, and Julio Torres. The President Show! Writers, Emily Altman, Anthony Atamanuik, Emmy Blotnick, Neil Casey, Mike Drucker, Noah Garfinkel, John Gemberling, Peter Gross, Mitra Johari, John Neffel, Allison Leiby, Christine Nangle, John Reynolds, Jason Ross, Ray Sani, Evan Waite. Weekend Update, Summer Edition. Writers, Megan Callahan, Michael Che, Mikey Day, Steve Higgins, Colin Jost, Dennis McNicholas, Josh Patton, Katie Rich, Pete Schultz, Streeter Seidel, Kent Sublett, Brian Tucker. Which one of these is an envelope? And the award goes to the writers of Saturday Night Live.
Thanks so much. I know a lot of shows from Los Angeles won tonight, but I just want to emphasize that Saturday Night Live started in New York, and 43 years later, we are still in New York, which is why 4 out of 28 of our writers came tonight. So that's great. I hear we're a lock for most writers, so I hope that's coming up. We share this with the cast, who also writes. They're great and they give lots of ideas. We share this with our crew, who everything we write, they produce it in between 2 and 3 days, even the short films. We share this with Melissa McCarthy, Alec Baldwin, Dave Chappelle, who made last season so special. We really appreciate them. And Lorne Michaels, who makes everything happen. So thank you very much. When we were kids, we watched this show. It's been around 43 years, and we're so privileged and honored and frankly a little bit burdened to keep it going, but we try our very best every day. One last thing I want to say is that this last year was a bit harrowing for the WGA. We all almost went on strike. And I just want to say that I'm really glad that we are here together tonight to celebrate. And I want to thank the leadership of the WGA for helping work that out this year. Thank you very much. Good night.
She's a 7-time WGA and 7-time Emmy Award-winning writer for daytime drama. Please welcome last year's recipient of the Richard B. Jablow Award for Service to the Guild, Courtney Simon.
For those of you who are not yet acquainted with Hamilton Nolan, let me guess what you're thinking. First, the name. Great, right? Hamilton Nolan. You're picturing what? Super distinguished, late 50s, probably a beard, maybe a vest, pocket watch. Well, no, you are mistaken. He is a whippersnapper. He hasn't even hit the big 4-0. So now you're wondering if he's getting an award for service to the Guild. How many years has he been a member, for Pete's sake? And the answer to that is 2. Yeah, 2 years. And during that period, he also ran for council and won on his first try. So that should tell you something. It should tell you that this man has made a whopping impact on this guild in a very short time, an impact that will be felt for many years to come. It started in 2015. Hamilton was writing about labor issues for what used to be Gawker, as the WGAE was beginning an organizing campaign to organize workers at Vice. So a member of the organizing team had been reading Hamilton's work and called him in for a meeting to see if he had any helpful suggestions. And by the end of that meeting, instead of asking how best to organize Vice, Hamilton was asking a different question. Why aren't we organizing Gawker? Cut to a few months later, guess what? The writers at Gawker were being proudly represented by the Writers Guild East. It was the beginning of a wave. After Gawker came Salon, Think Progress, the Huffington Post. I could go on, but you've all been reading about it. The Writers Guild East is still making headlines day after day after day. Hamilton Nolan was there at the beginning of the wave, and I promise you he will be there to go the distance. 2 reasons. A, he's a born activist. Just ask his parents, who led the way. But B, he's a born journalist, and a good one. In fact, he can count among his admirers the late, great David Carr of the New York Times. And I quote, "He has a style based on anti-style, and I find it very compelling to read. I very much admire what he does, until he does it to someone I like, and then I don't like it much." High praise. Hamilton's work has taken him to some interesting places, like the Obama White House. Can't believe I said that without sobbing. He represented the Guild there at a round table of influencers, and he also represented us at last year's AFL-CIO convention. In a 2014 interview, when asked about his choice of a career, Hamilton said, "The thing that drew me into it was the promise that journalism could be used to get the bad guys and help the good guys." In other words, this is a guy you want on your side. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present the Richard B. Jablow Award to Hamilton Nolan.
Thank you. Thank you, Courtney Simon. That was such a nice intro. When I used to write for Gawker, I wrote a lot of things making fun of award shows, so I'm actually very embarrassed to be here today. You know, the whole idea of a union is that we're all in this together. And from the time I started working with this union, I've never done anything alone. So this award is really for the hundreds and hundreds of people throughout the media who have organized and unionized in the past couple years because they're smart enough to understand, as a wise man once said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And this award is especially for the people at DNA Info and Gothamist, people who are all fired and had their publication shut down as a direct result of joining this union, and who still came out the next day and said unionizing was the right thing to do. That's how important this union is to people in my industry. And this award is also for the people who actually do the work, and that's the organizing staff at the Writers Guild. Thank you all. We see you, we respect you. You're awesome. We couldn't do any of this without you. And this award is also for my mom, who's here tonight. Hi, Mom. And the last thing I'll say is, you know, everybody in this room understands the positive impact that this union has had on all our lives, on our families' lives. We're living in a time when 90% of the working people in America do not have a union. And it's our responsibility as union members to use our voice and our time and our platform and our money to help that other 90% of people get a union for themselves. Because if unions are ever going to come back in America, it's got to be union members that make that happen. Nobody else is going to do that for us. So I hope we all have a lovely time tonight, and I hope we wake up tomorrow morning and get to work. Thank you very much.
Please welcome the proud father of tonight's two trophy handlers, also known as the Executive Director of the Writers Guild of America East, Lowell Peterson.
All right, we got some Writers Guild in the house. And I want to give a shout out, of course, to the greatest trophy presenters on the planet, my daughters. A year ago, standing right here, I talked about the importance of resistance. Resisting the retrograde forces who attack the free press and denigrate freedom of expression. Resisting those who marginalize, those who oppress, and those who harass. At the Writers Guild of America East, we believe the best way to resist is to keep fighting, to keep moving forward, not just to protect, but to empower, not to mourn, but as we've heard a lot about tonight, to organize. This strategy is what has informed our work with the people who craft content for digital news. In just the last 2.5 years, more than 1,000 digital writers, editors, producers, and others have joined with us to bargain collectively, not just to make gains in the workplace, but also to gain a voice on the job. And tonight, for the very first time, the Writers Guild of America honors great work in digital news. See, this resistance works. The nominees tonight are At the Capitol with Those for Whom Last Night Mattered the Most, written by Emma Roller, splinternews.com. Becoming Ugly by Madeline Davies, Jezebel.com. That's a voice on the job, let me tell you that, right? The Super Predators, written by Melissa Jeltsin and Dana Liebelson, HuffingtonPost.com. And Why Did Politicon Make Me Want to Die, written by Libby Watson, splinternews.com. And the award goes to, La La Land. No, that's not digital. Melissa Jeltsin and Dana Liebelson. The Super Predators, Huffington Post.
She just wants to be beautiful. She goes unnoticed. She knows.
I would like to say that they're accepting in Los Angeles, but that would be a fib. Anyway, we accept the award on behalf of Melissa Jeltsin and Dana Liebelson. Thank you very much.
She makes rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine seem glum by comparison. Please welcome back Amber Ruffin.
Don't blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight.
Our next winners aren't here tonight, so I'll just quickly read through them. In the category of animation, the winner is Time's Arrow, BoJack Horseman, written by Kate Purdy. And like I said, Kate Purdy couldn't be here tonight. Or could she? Hey everybody, I'm Kate Purdy. Thanks for this award. Back to you, Amber. Kate, I insist, you read the other two awards. Okay, next award in the category of comedy and variety specials, the winner is the 39th Annual Kennedy Center Honors, written by Dave Boone. Now, Dave Boone couldn't be here tonight, or could he? Hello, I'm Dave Boone. Thank you. Back to you, Kate. No, you read the last award. Well, okay. In the category of episodic comedy, the winner is Rosario's Quinceañera by Will and Grace, written by Tracy Proust and John Kennelly. Now, Tracy couldn't be here tonight, but John can. Hey, everybody, I'm John. Thank you so much. Good night. Thanks, Dave. Thank you. Thanks, Katie. Why, thank you. Thanks, Amber. Why, thank you. Goodbye.
He plays Donald Trump on Comedy Central's The President Show, which means he's probably the only one in this room rooting for a second term. Here's Anthony Atamanuik.
I'm not rooting for a second term, everybody. Let's make that very clear. I hope to predicate my career more on basically doing a poor William Shatner impression. For Christ's sake. Well, it's always good to get to introduce these categories, and this is what I have to say. On my show, I pretend to be this stupid fat guy who lies all the time and always needs to be in the spotlight. But these people, the nominees for Outstanding Radio Audio News, work tirelessly behind the scenes, not for glory or recognition, but to uncover the truth. They conduct actual investigations and convey their findings in terms unbiased yet impassioned, powerfully fact-checked, using real reporting. So let's give it up for them. They're more valuable than ever. Applause. Okay, enough. Enough, a movie starring Jennifer Lopez, but also, you don't even know the nominees yet. The nominees for radio, audio, news, script, analysis, feature, or commentary are Chuck Berry, written by Jerry Edling, KNX. Dish and Digital on WCBS AM, written by Robert Hawley, WCBS. Holiday Stories, written by Gail Lee, CBS News Radio. One Nation Overdosed, an investigative report, written by Tara Gimbel-Tanis, ABC News Radio. And the award goes to Open the Envelope on Stage and Remain on Stage. So ridiculous to instruct me to remain. Robert Hawley, Dish and Digital on WCBS AM, WCBS. Robert really wanted to be here, but he has a new job and had to work tonight. I'm not kidding. The nominees. Oh, there's so much more, everyone. The nominees for Radio Audio News Script, regularly scheduled bulletin or breaking report are Hugh Hefner, A Social Revolutionary in Silk Pajamas, written by Gail Lee, CBS News Radio. World News This Week, November 18th, 2016, written by Joan B. Harris of ABC News Radio. World News This Week, June 9th, maybe it was better, 2017, written by Tara Gimbel-Tanis, ABC News Radio. And the award goes to Tara Gimbel-Tanis, World News This Week, June 9th, 2017. Come on up. She'll be making her way up. In the meanwhile, I see my former boss yawning. Don't we love this song? It's one of the great news songs. There's only a few, but I find this one to be a thumping stunner. Is she coming up? I hope she is. Don't rush. Take your time. And yeah, come on! Now's the time to give it up for Tara Gimbel-Tanis!
Thank you so much. I'm sorry it took so long. I was all the way up there. I want to share this award with my fellow ABC writer, Joan Harris, who's also nominated. Joan. I want to thank the WGA for all the work they do for us writers. This is amazing. I couldn't be prouder of the people that I work with, the writers that I work with. Thank you to my bosses at ABC Radio who trust me with this show, and most importantly, because I can't forget him, the voice behind the show, Chuck Sievertson, who makes my words sound better and smarter. Thank you, Chuck. You are the best, and you're so much fun to work with. Thank you all. Have a great night.
I'm still here. So incredible. Finally, the nominees for Radio Audio Documentary are 2016, A Year in Review, written by Gail Lee, CBS News Radio. Castro, Cuba, Communism, written by Thomas A. Sabella, CBS News Radio. CBS Radio 90th Anniversary, written by Diane E. James, and there's Gail Lee again. And guess what? It's on CBS News Radio. Be weird if ABC did that, right? Remembering Princess Diana, 20 years later, written by Andrew Evans, ABC News Radio. And the award goes to Diane Diane E. James, and Gail Lee, CBS Radio 90th anniversary. CBS, I can't wait to meet everyone. Gail. Come on up, Gail. Diane, you've won free buffet nights at your hometown buffet outside either in Pennsylvania or Massachusetts, and also a 3-day all-expense-paid trip to the Poconos. It's all yours if you claim.
Go ahead. Wow. When CBS went on the air for the very first time in 1927, it was, of course, on radio, because that was the most high-tech form of communication that the jazz age could come up with. But it was magical, because imagine being in a farmhouse in Kansas and being able to turn on this box and suddenly through the ether, noise coming, whether it's the president giving a speech in Washington or it's a band leader or a crooner singing live from a ballroom in New York. It was magic. And now it's another century, but those of us who work in radio know that radio is still magical. It's just a wonderfully creative way to write. It's very intimate. And the speed of transmission, almost as fast as Twitter. And it's absolutely wonderful. So, go ahead, even though we're old media, please support an old media writer. Turn on the radio next time you're in the car, or listen to us on the internet. I congratulate all my colleagues, my competitors, because they all do wonderful, wonderful work. And Diane, of course, you do great work. Thank you.
Thank you. Yours in solidarity. Our next presenter is a novelist and comedy writer who dedicated himself to getting the word brisket into tonight's show. Well done. Another brisket reference. Bill Sheft.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Thank God, an old Jew. Finally. My wife, the comedian Adrienne, told us she used to do a line in her act that she went out with a guy who was so Jewish, he lived with another guy's mother. So, we have some outstanding nominees for Best Documentary Script Current Events tonight. I can read them, or you can wire $130,000 to my shell corporation in Delaware, and they can all go away. Never happened, show's over, keep moving. I'm gonna read them. The nominees for Best Documentary Script Current Events are Confronting ISIS, Frontline, written by Martin Smith, PBS. Poverty, Politics, and Profit, Frontline, written by Rick Young, PBS. And Unseen Enemy, written by Janet Tobias, CNN. And the award for documentary script current events goes to Martin Smith, Confronting ISIS, Frontline. Wow. He must be very, very important. Martin, where are you? Do I see him? This is where it gets really exciting. I think he's confronting ISIS, that's what I think. It's just me. Really, please? Yeah!
Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Sarah Bidat and I'm accepting this award for Martin Smith, who couldn't be here tonight because he's just recovering from his surgery.
which I think is appropriate to thank the Writers Guild on their amazing health insurance plan. It's such an honor for us to get this award. I worked with Martin on this, and we traveled throughout the Middle East to make this documentary. So we'd like to thank PBS Frontline for investing in a 2-hour anything on ISIS. And beyond that, I just want to say I've watched Martin work and had the privilege to learn from him, and he's taught me that to be a good writer, you have to be a really good listener. So this is for him tonight, and thank you so much. It's an honor.
We also have documentaries offering rich perspectives on American history. All 6 of the nominees are from PBS, so no matter who wins, the other 5 will go home with either a tote bag, an umbrella, or a VHS copy of tonight's show. The nominees for documentary script other than current events are Divided States of America Part 1 Frontline, written by Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, PBS. Rachel Carson, The American Experience, written and directed by Michelle Ferrari, PBS. The Great War, Part 2, American Experience, written by Stephen Ives, PBS. The Great War, Part 3, American Experience, written by Rob Rapley, PBS. And the Vietnam War, Episode 6, Things Fall Apart, written by our honoree Jeffrey Ward, PBS. And the award for documentary script other than current events goes to Stephen Ives, The Great War, Part 2.
There were a storm on the front
Everybody.
of the hillside. They were called in from
All right, just the ladies.
And the country found them ready.
Okay, just the guys that ate the Tide Pods. Where is Stephen? Is he here? Here he is. Is that a guy? Here it is.
As the soldiers pass along, and although your heart is breaking.
Thank you. This is a series about World War I. I feel like I should thank Woodrow Wilson or Kaiser Wilhelm. But really, in the last 25 years, it's been my privilege to work with an incredible group of people from the American Experience series, in particular, Mark Samuels and Susan Bellows and their team at the American Experience. But particularly tonight, I'm grateful to my fellow honorees. I was lucky enough to have Jeff Ward write the first script that I ever directed. And Michelle Ferrari has made so many great films with us and taught me so much about the craft of filmmaking. Rob Rapley was an amazing collaborator with us on The Great War. And of course, Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, I've admired their work for years. So I just want to thank you for this recognition and for including me in such distinguished company. And of course, to thank my wife, Ann. Thank you very much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of the Herb Sargent Award.
Good evening. Most of you know me as Tracy Jordan, a ridiculous character I play on television, and most of the week at Benihana's. That dude, I'm told, is hilarious. But what you probably don't know is that my real name is Trachonius Alster Morgan Hennessy. And I'm actually a classically trained thespian. I played Othello in Othello, Othello in Othello's Day Out, and Theseus in Midsummer's Uptown Saturday Night's Dream. I was a commanding presence on the stage. Then I met Tina Fey and Robert Carlock, and they introduced me to a brawdy little fellow named Tracy Morgan. Tracy is a ridiculous character who runs down the freeway in his underwear yelling, "I am a Jedi!" Now what the fuck is a Jedi? I asked them, and they said, "Trust me." Now trusting Tina and Robert is not an easy thing to do, because they look like two white devils who are up to no good. But anyone, actors, producers, writers, executives, who has ever trusted them has not been disappointed. And I know I haven't. But it's been one of the best relationships of my life. They will do anything for you. Although they won't give you a kidney, I know, I've asked them many times.
Tracy, what are you doing? I thought we were here to present the Herb Sargent Award together.
I'm not Tracy, I'm Trachonius.
Wait, Trachonius? Oh, okay, Tracy, you don't have to pretend you're someone else to impress these people. They're just writers.
Wait, they're all just writers? I mean, who cares what they think? Any of them at least married to Amanda Pete?
Yeah, a few of them, but they're out at the ceremony in LA.
They do two of these? That's the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. And I've heard me say some things like, "Hold on, give me a second to find my character. Live each week like Shark Week. Heavy is the head that eats the crayons. I love this cornbread so much I'm gonna take it out behind a middle school and get it pregnant." That's the kind of stuff Tina and Robert tell me to say. I don't know what most of it means, but I love it.
Yes, Tracy, that is the kind of comedy that we've come to expect from Tina Fey and Robert Carlock. That's true. Okay, Tracy, are you done now? Can I get serious here for a minute? I wish I were taller so I could really see this prompter, but I'm not, so... Okay. All right, I'm gonna get serious here. Tina, I'm gonna start with you because frankly, I've known you longer. Where are you? There you. Okay, there you are. I've known you longer, and probably along the way in our theater days, I've probably seen you naked, and I can't say the same for Robert, though it's not for lack of trying. Tina, it's impossible for me to touch on all your achievements, your contributions to comedy, your mentorship, your position as a role model, both to men and women, and to me. I fit into one of those categories. Your abilities to come up with a joke at lightning speed. Your brain is a magic joke machine, the likes of which I've never witnessed. There's your ability to improvise, to write sketch, award-winning sitcoms, hit screenplays, and now Broadway. Yes. When I think of you, I think how everything you touch turns to comedy gold. And that is true, but that would give the impression that all you do is touch. And it is actually your hard work, your amazing brain. And I'm sure here you would make some German work ethic reference, but I'll need you to punch this up before air. Oh, this isn't going to air. Okay, well. I can't make this all about Tina, though, because this award is for Tina and Robert together. I don't have strong personal feelings for Robert because he wouldn't want me to. Tina wrote that joke. What can I say about Robert Carlock? He is a fellow masshole, a Harvard man, and a Harvard man. He looks like he belongs at an Illuminati meeting at Goldman Sachs, but due to some unknown childhood trauma, he decided to go into comedy, and we are all luckier for it. Tina and Robert separately wrote some of the most memorable sketches SNL has ever known. Robert wrote all the NPR sketches, including the classic Sweaty Balls. Tina wrote Colonel Angus. That's right, Sweaty Balls and Colonel Angus. I'm trying to say they're both juvenile perverts. And together they did Weekend Update with Tina as anchor and Robert producing, which was just the first of their many collaborations.
For 7 seasons, the two of them ran the greatest sitcom of all time, 30 Rock. After that, they could have retired and rested on their laurels if Lauren hadn't kept all the money and most of the laurels. But they chose not to. They just went out and created another classic show, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Yes, not to mention NBC's Great News, the movie Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and a line of very flammable athleisure wear for JCPenney. Together, sorry, I keep breathing this. Okay, together they have created their own sitcom language, a blink and you'll miss it, rapid-fire rhythm where the throwaway line is as funny as the joke you were supposed to hear. The surreal is allowed to live in the same space as the real with Tina and Robert in the sitcom world. They've combined their comedy forces into something wonderful and unique. When you put Carlock and Fade together, you're going to get a heady mix of sharks, robots, and feminism. And genuine heart, which is something people don't give them enough credit for. I truly admire you both so much for your awe-inspiring talent, your whacked-out sensibility, your ability to create your own genres, and on top of it all, you're both nice people who are really generous of spirit. I am so happy for all of your success. It is well-earned and most deserved, and Tracy and I are honored to be able to present you with this award.
You know, I think I speak for a lot of folks out there when I say it's been a pleasure to not only say their words, but to be around their genius. I love them so much. Robert came to see me after the accident, and Tina did too, and I love you for that. Thank you so much. That meant a lot to me. I mean, I love them so much, I'm gonna take them back behind a middle school and get them pregnant. That's what I wanna do to them.
Please welcome to the stage
our brother and sister,
Tina Fey and Robert
Carlock.
I insist. I said to Tina, I'm the man. I go first. And she said, going first means you're opening for me. And I was like, wait, what? This is amazing. My original plan, it's late. We're all drunk, right? Come on. No one wants to be here. But you have to wait for Tina to talk. So I can do whatever I want. It says acceptance, exit. Okay. My original plan, I had this amazing idea when this award, this incredible honor was offered to us last August. My amazing idea was, in light of the fact that I've been yoked to this dum-dum for about 20 years, was, I'm gonna thank all these women I've worked with, and that'll be so woke and amazing. And now it's just fucking boring, and you can't do it. So I'm just gonna cut my grandmother and my mother from the speech, even though they were artists and writers, and I'm gonna jump right to Tina, I guess, and say in all sincerity, I can't believe how lucky I am to get to spend her goodwill to write nonsense and my stupid ideas, because she's the one who gets attacked every time, which just works so great for me. Tina Fey should be on a postage stamp, and not just because that means she'd be dead. And then I could take a break or something, because you can't take a break. A syndication it's not what it used to be. This is a woman that our popular culture owes Bossy Pants and Mean Girls, and these are things that are just used as shibboleths. and what she did on Weekend Update and 30 Rock, which should just start up again, because I think we need 30 Rock. It's just remarkable that I am fortunate enough to be her partner and to get to work with and for her, and I'm so lucky. And the other one I wanted to thank is my wife, Jen Rogers, which is a very boring name, but and you don't know her. You don't have to applaud for her because you don't know her, but you do know Tina Fey. So let's just put this in context, which is to say that Tina Fey is an American treasure, right? Compared to Jen Rogers, she's just like a pile of garbage, okay? And that's to take nothing away from her, but just like a kiddie pool full of old pasta sauce and used diapers and like peel and eat shrimp just in the sun is Tina. Again, amazing, but compared to my wife, and you don't know, sorry, you people, like here, right? Tina, we can agree here. Jen, like up here, okay? You stink. And I'm one of, you guys are amazing. You're members of the Writers Guild of America, and you've been nominated for awards, and I consider myself, I'm just trying to get laid, guys. I consider myself in that group, and then Tina, we can all agree, is great, and then Jen Rogers, but compared between, it's so hard to communicate. Jen Rogers, imagine Tina as just like a flaming pile of shit. And then my wife is a normal human being. Thank you. Thank you, the Writers Guild of America. I have to contractually thank Lorne Michaels, even though he's done very little. God bless America.
Roberts. Yes, I also want to say thank you to the Writers Guild of America East for this incredible honor. I feel like the Gail Lee of comedy. Gail, if you want to come up here as well and be a part of this, I would welcome that. I want to say thank you so much to Tracy and to Rachel for being here. As the great Caroline Manzo once said, you are my fambugly. Anyone who messes with my fambugly messes with me. And I love you both. Okay. Looking around tonight, I am reminded of how hard I worked to get out of this room. I saw just had my teeth fixed, and I let people shoot lasers at my face, and just did so many squats. And yet, I'm like Lady Bird right near the end. I feel like I understand that this room will always be the best part of me. Robert and I met over 20 years ago as writers at Saturday Night Live. Again, contractually obligated to thank Lorne. But Lorne has only given us everything we have and taught us how to live our lives and how to be loyal employers who foster creativity. But he also likes to teach you that the producing is about discouraging creativity, which is true. But we first collaborated together on Weekend Update, and so this is a particularly meaningful honor for us to receive the Herb Sargent Award because Herb, as you know, pioneered the Weekend Update segment. He was the first person to do it. They created the segment, he and Chevy, and long before there was a Daily Show, long before Trevor Noah could roll footage and bat his beautiful doe eyes. Herb was in the woods with Chevy, just carving out the fake news format. And so Robert and I are really proud to be a part of that heritage, and I wish that Herb had trademarked the term fake news because his family would be so rich. Also, on a side note, Herb Sargent and I are from the same town. We're both from Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. I met Herb here over the years, and it was always so inspiring to me to know that he was from there too. As Upper Darby is me, Herb Sargent, Sherry O'Terry, Todd Rundgren, Jim Croce, and Jamie Kennedy.
So the through line you might be picking up on is we're a little dirtbaggy. You would want us on your side in a parking lot fight. Deep Delco for always. When I first started hosting Update with Jimmy Fallon, Lorne explained to me that in his experience that people who are on Weekend Update become well known faster than the rest of the cast because they say their name every week during the segment. You say, "Hi, I'm Tina Fey, and here are tonight's top stories." And that is the only reason that you may know me more than you know Robert. We have the same skill set, we have the same work ethic, we are equally beautiful women. I just had the good fortune to say my name on TV every week for 7 years. Then Robert went to LA to work on Friends, and when I needed help to get the 30 Rock pilot up on its feet and shoot it, he offered to come back and help for a week, and we are now 11 years into that week, and I'm continually grateful. 30 Rock was the greatest thing that ever happened to me or was done to me. Those relationships were incredibly meaningful to me. Everything that we learned in the process, I will never forget it, and I can't imagine. I think it will. I'm confident at 47. I'm confident saying it's going to be the best time of my life. Don't say my real age. I just keep committing to it, and then it'll be too late. And I will say this about Robert: that there are so few people that I work with that, you know, in comparison to whom I can be the warm one, the good cop. And so that is a real gift that he's given me. And I am one of the few people that knows that under his patrician New England exterior that he is actually a very loving person and a loving father to James and Cassie and Rennis, and to a wonderful husband to Jen Rogers, who I agree in his assessment of we're all pieces of shit next to Jen Rogers. And you know, he's a great American and an upstanding person, and I think that is worth noting. If you have a meeting with Robert, when you get there, he will never be just getting out of the shower. It's never gonna happen.
I'll be so showered.
He'll shower himself on his own time. You're safe, you know, and I think that is just how low the bar is now. That is why we're getting this award, because we never made anyone who worked for us look at our genitals. Thank you, and good night.
Our next presenters are the host and correspondent of Comedy Central's The Opposition. They're also married, but tonight they just want to be seen as co-presenters. Jordan Klepper and Laura Gray.
Just co-presenters.
Just co-presenters. Just co-presenters. You know, people say comedy is like sex because it builds to a release.
And because men are always exaggerating how good they are at it.
Yes, also that.
Yes. Well, this next group of writers is definitely good at it. The nominees for comedy series are Curb Your Enthusiasm, written by Larry David, John Heyman, Justin Hurwitz, and Jeff Schaefer.
Glow, written by Christopher Diaz, Liz Flahive, Tara Herman, Nick Jones, Genji Cohan, Carly Mensch, Emma Rathbone, Sasha Rothschild, Rachel Schukert.
You're doing great.
Yeah, you too.
Master of None, written by Aneez Adam Ansari, Aziz Ansari, Andrew Blitz, Matt Hubbard, Zoe Jarman, Cord Jefferson, Joe Mandy, Matt Murray, Sarah Peters, Sarah Schneider, Michael Schur, Leela Strawn, and Gene Stupinski. Oh, I'm not done yet. Lakshmi Suntharam, Lena Waithe, Jason Woolner, Alan Yang.
Woo!
I did it.
Nailed it. You nailed it.
Thank you.
Silicon Valley, written by Alec Berg, Sean Box, Adam County, Jonathan Dotan, Mike Judge, Kerry Kemper, Andrew Law, Rachel Lynn, Dan O'Keefe, Megan Platica, Chris Provenzano, Clay Tarver, Graham Wagner, and Aaron Zellman.
Veep, written by Gabrielle Allen, Rachel Axler, Ted Cohen, Jennifer Crittenden, Alex Gregory, Steve Healy, Peter Hike, Eric Kenward, Billy Kimball, David Mandel, Ian Maxstone Graham, Dan Mintz, Lou Morton, Georgia Pritchett, and Will Smith.
Ooh.
That one?
Yeah, I know that
I hope
gig. It's
so.
great. And the award goes to the writers of Veep.
That's fantastic. Yes, I'm one of the sole British writers still on the show. Immigrants, we get the job done. Thank you. And I just want to thank a fantastic cast. It's such a joy to write for, particularly the president that we wish we had, Julie Louis-Dreyfus. So this is for her. Thank you.
Political. Ooh. Launching a new series is hard work, but these 5 shows made it look easy.
The nominees for Best New Series are American Vandal, written by Seth Cohen, Lauren Herzig, Dan Laguna, Kevin McManus, Matthew McManus, Jessica Meyer, Dan Peralt, Amy Pocha, Mike Rosolio, Tony Yasenda.
The Deuce, written by Megan Abbott, Mark Henry Johnson, Lisa Lutz, George Pelicanos, Richard Price, Will Ralston, David Simon, Chris Yakaitis.
Glow, written by Christopher Diaz, Liz Flahive, Tara Herman, Nick Jones, Genji Cohen, Carly Mensch, Emma Rathbone, Sasha Rothschild, Rachel Schukert.
The Handmaid's Tale, written by Eileen Chaikin, Nina Fiore, Dorothy Fortenberry, Laya Gerstein, John Herrera, Lynn Renee Maxey, Bruce Miller, Kira Snyder, Wendy Straker Hauser, Eric Tuckman.
Ozark, written by Whit Anderson, Bill Dubuque, Ryan Farley, Allison Feltus, Paul Colesby, Chris Mundy, Mark Williams, Ning Zhou, Martine Zimmerman.
And the award goes to the writers of
The Handmaid's Tale.
Accepting on behalf of the writers is Ann Dowd.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure many of you know Bruce Miller. He's a tremendously humble man, and he loves to write. And I'm just picturing him in Los Angeles at the moment. A wreck, but very, very grateful. So thank you. I know he is very happy, and to all of our writers, thank you on their behalf. Very generous, and I know what it's going to be like on set tomorrow. So thank you very much.
She's an accomplished stage, film, and television performer, currently starring in an Emmy-winning role in The Handmaid's Tale. Fresh from a backstage pivot, here's Ann Dowd.
I'm so sorry. I hate to disappoint you, but I am back. Oh my goodness. Yeah. A real American horror story about the ongoing water crisis in Flint. A tale of politics so frightening it feels true. A famous feud, an infamous bomber, and a new take on the old-fashioned Western. These diverse subjects are all outstanding examples of long-form original screenwriting. The nominees are American Horror Story Cult, written by Brad Fulchik, John J. Gray, Joshua Green, Todd Kubrick, Crystal Liu, Tim Minear, Ryan Murphy, Adam Penn, James Wong. Feud, Betty and Joan, written by Jaffe Cohen, Tim Minear, Ryan Murphy, Gina Welch, Michael Zamm. Flint, written by Barbara Stepansky. Godless, written by Scott Frank. Manhunt Unabomber, written by Jim Clemente, Tony Giddleston, Max Hurwitz, Stephen Katz, Nick Schenk. It's Giddleson, and I beg your pardon. Andrew Sadrowski, Nick Town. And the award goes to Barbara Stepanski, Flint.
And I rise up, I rise like the day I rise up.
Well, congratulations to Barbara. I am accepting on her behalf. All right. Tonight's nominees for Original Screenplay explore difficult relationships between generations and races, between species, and between a heavy, blunt object and the human knee. Love is love. And the nominees are The Big Sick, written by Emily Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani. Get Out, written by Jordan Peele. I, Tonya, written by Stephen Rogers. Lady Bird, written by Greta Gerwig. The Shape of Water, screenplay by Guillermo del Toro and Vanessa Taylor, story by Guillermo del Toro. And the award goes to Jordan Peele, Get Out. Accepting for Jordan is your friend Tracy Morgan.
This is crazy. How long did it take y'all to recognize that I'm not Jordan? Okay, where's that paper with a speech on it? I'm just gonna put it out there, man. Jordan told me to tell y'all, man, he's very thankful for this award. He's glad that he's able to share his words with you, because words take on meaning. They mean a lot. They're an important tool for us. And he's very thankful that he was able to share his story with you and his words with you, and he was able to create a movie, his favorite movie, that he never saw before. And I'm just here to tell you what he said. And he says, thank you, he feels honored, and he loves you. Thank you.
She was the head writer of The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore, and since October, she's hosted her own critically acclaimed late-night show, The Rundown, on BET. Here's Robin Thede.
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank my fellow, 6 or 7 other black people. You are here during the high holy days of Black Panther Week, and I thank you. All right, I am here to present the award for short form new media adapted, which is not, as I thought, 3 different categories, one for short writers, one for internet writers, and one for adaptations of Toni Morrison books, which honestly there should be more of. So let's get to it. The nominees are John Hancock, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Slingshot, written by James C. Oliver and Charla Oliver. Chapter 2, The Walking Dead, Red Machete, written by Nick Bernardone. Justicia, well, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Slingshot, written by Mark Leitner. Starboy, Zack and Mia, teleplay by Alan Clary and Andrew Rothschild, based on the novel Zack and Mia by A.J. Betts. I'm going fast. I know we want to go home. And the award goes to, oh, I have it. Okay. Alan Clary, Andrew Rothschild for Starboy, Zack and Mia. They could not be here tonight, but I would imagine if they were here, they'd be drunk. So congratulations to them. All right, now, this year, my show was not on the air early enough to be nominated in this next category, Comedy Variety Talk Series. But next year, I'm coming for you all, so consider this my Arya Stark list, okay? All right, and the nominees are Conan, Ruffin, head writer Matt O'Brien, writers Jose Arroyo, Dan Cronin, Andre Duboucher, Jesse Gaskell, Mike Gordon, Brian Kiley, Laura Kilmartin, Leah Krinsky, Rob Kutner, Dave Levin, Levy McDougall, Conan O'Brien, Andy Richter, Frank Smiley, and Mike Sweeney. Full frontal with Samantha Bee. My late night cousins, writers Samantha Bee, Ashley Nicole Black, Pat Castles, Eric Drysdale, Madden Earhart, Trayvon Free, Joe Grossman, Miles Kahn, Joe Miller, Jason Reich, and Melinda Taub. Jimmy Kimmel Live. Writers, Jimmy Kimmel, Tony Barbieri, Jonathan Bynes, Joel Boussaï, Gonzalo Cordova, Devin Field, Gary Greenberg, Josh Holloway, you can read it. Eric Immerman, sorry, I'm terrible at reading pronunciations. Jesse Joyce, Bess Kolb, Jeff Loveness, Molly McNierney, Cece Pleasant, Danny Ricker, and Joe Strazulo. Very exciting. I'm sorry, personally, to Sal Iacono. Iacono, are you here? I apologize. All right, last week tonight with John Oliver. Also our building mates. Writers Tim Carvel, Josh Gondelman, Dan Gerwich, Jeff Haggerty, Jeff Maurer, John Oliver, Scott Sherman, Will Tracy, Jill Twist, Julie Wiener, Ben Silva, and Sina Volley. It's a good group over there. I've heard of this show, Late Night with Seth Meyers. Writers Jermaine Alfonso, Alex Bays, Ryan Donaldson, Sal Gentile, Matt Goldich, Gina Gustafsky, Jenny Hagel, Allie Horde, Mike Carnell, John Lutz, Seth Meyers, Ian Morgan, Seth Reese, Amber Ruffin, Mike Scollins, Mike Shoemaker, and Ben Warwick. Real Time with Bill Maher. Writers Scott Carter, Adam Felber, Matt Gunn, Brian Jacobs-Meyer, y'all are vicious, Jay Yarrow, Chris Kelly, Bill Maher, Billy Martin, Bob Oshak, and Danny Vermont. Hey, let's keep going. I like names. The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Writers Dan Amira, Dave Angelo, Steve Bodo, Kashana Cawley, Devin Delaquanti, Zach DeLonzo, Haley Hagland, David Kabuka, Matt Koff, Adam Lowitt, Dan McCoy, Lawrence Harper Means, Trevor Noah, Joseph Apoyo, Zubin Parang, Owen Parsons, Daniel Radosh, and Michelle Wolf. Michelle the Wolf. Hey, I got one more just to round it out. Why not? The Jim Jeffries Show. Head writer Jason Reich, writers Jim Jeffries, Suba Agarwal, Kevin Avery, Curtis Cook, Lucas Gavner, Matt Kirshen, Chris McKinley, Brian Olson, Laura Wilcox, JJ Whitehead, Scott Zabilski, and the award goes to... Jesus Christ. I love you all. Can I just say I'm honored to be in the late night space at a time such as this? I really am. I really am. I'm on BET for those of you looking confused as to who I am. The winner is the writers of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Get up here.
Thank you. I'd be dumb if I didn't thank Gail Lee, so thank you, Gail Lee. We are so excited. We're so grateful to the Writers Guild for this award. Thank you guys so much for watching our show. We are such fans of all the other nominees. Especially, we would like to thank our staff. They are so funny and smart and hilarious. They all deserve trophies. Especially, we'd like to thank Kat Owens, who assists all of us. She's amazing. We love her so much. Liz Stanton, our executive producer, who does her job with such grace. She makes it look easy. Tim Carvel, the funniest and kindest person I have ever gotten to work with and probably will ever get to work with. And John Oliver. If you're a comedy writer, all you want is someone that makes your good writing better and ignores your bad writing. And John does that for us. And we are so grateful. So thank you so much. Woo!
Once again, Amber Ruffin.
You guys, thank you for letting me host. This was a real blast. Now, on a serious note, I just want to say that diversity only makes our shows better. And if you want the world to watch your show should look like the world. Now, I don't want to be, yippee! I agree. Now, I don't want to be too heavy-handed about it, and I know it's hard to find diverse writers, so I'll just say, I'll see you at the
Amber?
Hey, Tarek, available hilarious black comedy writer that I did Boom Chicago with and totally vouched for, who wrote this show tonight. What's up?
Hey, I'm all right. Yeah, thank you. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. How you doing? We cannot forget to thank our sponsor, Final Draft.
That's right. Right. Thank you, Final Draft. And I'll see you at the after.
Oh, hey, Amber.
Hey, what's up, Don? Available black hilarious children's and regular comedy writer who helped write this show. What's up?
We forgot to thank our other sponsor, Elite Logistics and Fulfillment.
Right. Thanks, Elite Logistics and Fulfillment. See you guys at the after. Yes, what's up, Shantira? Available hilarious black comedy writer who helped write this show and who I personally vouch for. What's up?
Black female comedy writer. I just want you to make sure you don't forget to thank our media partner, Crane.
Right. Thank you, media partner, Cranes. All right. Anyways, I'll see you at
Amber, will you shut up for a second?
Yes, Dwayne, available hilarious black comedy writer who I completely vouch for, who helped write tonight's show. What's up?
I'm sorry, I think you mean gay, black, gay writer?
That's right.
And the after party is sponsored by Vision Media Management.
Yes, and it's just a few doors down at the living room at the W Hotel at 47th of Broadway.